after ASEAN joins the U.S. patrols in South China Sea, tension with China increase. As China and the U.S. trade barbs over everything from trade to COVID-19 to Hong Kong, the two powers are at greater risk of careering into physical confrontation. And nowhere are their warships and fighter jets coming as close to each other with as much frequency as the South China Sea. A military conflict would probably be devastating for both. There are no signs that either side actually wants one. Still, in times of high tension, miscalculations can have unintended consequences. In the first 4 months of the year, the U.S. Navy conducted 4 freedom of navigation operations, known as FONOPs, in the South China Sea, which is crisscrossed by competing claims by nations including China, the Philippines, Vietnam and Malaysia. That puts it on track to surpass last year's total of 8. At the same time, as China emerged from the worst of the coronavirus outbreak, its Navy steamed back out of ports in Hainan and resumed drills in the area. It's a high-stakes game of cat and mouse between the militaries of two countries with a history of near misses. With President Donald Trump months from an election, and President Xi Jinping rattling nationalistic cages at the home to distract from a wounded economy, the mood is less conducive to the careful diplomacy needed to defuse a standoff at sea. Xi used an address Tuesday to delegates at the National People's Congress in Beijing to again warn the military to strengthen war preparations. While a premeditated armed conflict between China and the U.S. is a remote possibility, we see their military assets operating in greater regularity and at higher intensity in the same maritime domain. Colin Ko Swee Lin, a research fellow at Singapore's S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies. The interactions of these rival assets in the area would create chances of a miscalculation and misjudgment leading to inadvertent or accidental use of force, which is thus potentially incendiary and could result in escalation. This is a risk we can't discount. The U.S. and China have been dancing around each other in the South China Sea for years. While the U.S. is not a territorial claimant, the waters are a key thoroughfare for global shipping and trade. Rich in fish and with large but mostly unproven energy deposits, the U.S. has supported some smaller states against China's increased military presence in the area, including its move to build airstrips and land strategic hardware in rocky outcrops and low-lying reefs. Beijing has also in recent times deployed Coast Guard vessels decked out with the same level of armory as a standard Navy ship to escort its fishing fleets. Defense Secretary Mark Esper spoke in December of his intention to prioritize the deployment of US forces to the Asia-Pacific region from other areas in the face of growing competition with China. COVID-19 saw exercises scaled down or cancelled, and the sidelining of aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt in Guam. After hundreds of crew members tested positive for the disease, it has now returned to sea. Still, there remain flashpoints. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Southeast Asia, Reid Werner, last week warned of a very worrisome trend line during an interview with Fox News, accusing China of the harassment of the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Mustin while it patrolled the South China Sea. He also cited at least 9 instances of Chinese fighter jets doing the same to the U.S. reconnaissance aircraft. In an effort to bolster its defense capacity in airspace over the disputed waters, China's defense ministry has said it would formally declare an air defense identification zone, after years of attempting mostly unsuccessfully to force planes from other nations flying in the area to change their course. It's unclear, though, when this might actually happen. The U.S. Navy also recently engaged in a standoff with Chinese vessels, after twice sending warships on presence operations off the coast of Malaysia, where Chinese ships were shadowing a Malaysian state-contracted drill ship, exploring two potentially lucrative energy blocks claimed by both countries. 7th Fleet Commander Vice Admiral Bilmers said in a statement in mid-May that the U.S. had done so in support of allies and partners in the lawful pursuit of their economic interests. China's foreign ministry said at the time its survey ship was conducting normal activities in waters under Chinese jurisdiction and called the situation basically stable. On Sunday, Foreign Minister Wang Yi accused non-regional countries of flexing their muscles in an effort to sow discord between China and Southeast Asian nations. Security experts familiar with the Malaysian government's thinking said officials in Kuala Lumpur expressed concern to the U.S. that its presence would only serve to escalate the matter. A spokeswoman for Malaysia's foreign ministry declined to comment. The U.S. was clearly sending a signal, said Bonnie Glazer, director of the China Power Project at the Center for Strategic and International Studies.